How to set a volleyball. Okay. First things first, the basics rules of volleyball. There could be only 6 players on the court per team. You're only allowed to touch the ball 3 times as a team, while one player cannot repeatedly hit the ball back to back. The object of the game is to win 3 sets up to 25. To get a point, the ball must land on the other opposite team's court and or be out on your side of the court. The ball is considered out if it hits an antenna, the floor completely outside of the court, any of the net or cables outside of the antenna, the referee stand or pole, and the ceiling above a non-playable area. There are many in-depth rules for volleyball, but I'm going to be talking about setting. So here are the major rules for setters. So setters cannot jump from the back row, cannot jump, cannot attack, cannot block any ball in the front row. It's considered a back row attack, and they would get called, and the other team would get a point for it. So the setter would have to have clean hands. Like clean hands, I mean it has to be a good set. It has to come out of the hands clean. It can't have too much spin. It can have a little spin, but not so much. It depends on the ref majority of the time. If the ref sees a little spin, they won't call it. But if the ref sees a lot of spin, they will call it, because that's considered a double hit. A double hit is when you make 2 contacts on the ball, and this is the most common penalty against setters. So what does the setter do? A setter is a position on the court that directs the flow of a game. The setter usually gets the second ball. The steps for learning how to set. So step 1, the first thing that we want to be concerned about is the shape that we make with our hands when we are setting. We want to make sure our hands are in the shape of a ball and our fingers are evenly spanned and high above our forehead. If we were to place the ball in our hands, it would fit perfectly. If we were to place the ball to be placed in our hands, it would fit perfectly. We would also want our elbows to be out. We also want high hands, because if we practice our low hands, low hands are like common to lifts, so we don't want low hands. We want to practice high hands. So we then want to focus on getting to the ball and having our feet set while finding the ball in our hands. To make things easier for us to find the ball in your hand at a great position, you want your right hand or both hands up for guidance as you see the ball coming. Then you bring that left hand if you have it down. As we find the ball, we want to focus on having the footwork left foot, right foot, then finishing left to end it. These steps are usually left, right, left, because we want the momentum in our feet to go all the way up through our hands, because we don't want no doubles. We want to clean the ball off our hand set. We then want to push through the ball when making contact and square up to our target. When we square up, it means our hips should be facing where we want our set to go, and our follow through after our set should look like a Superman with our arms out, so also facing where we want the set to finish. So even if the ball is off the net, because majority of the passes are on the net, we want the passes on the net at our target. Our target is usually in the circle in the center of the court, semicircle. And so even if the pass is off, we want our body squared to where we want to set the ball. So many different sets. The setter is basically the quarterback of the team. They run the plays. They tell the hitters where to go. They tell the hitters what plays to run, when to run them. They tell our DSs also, because the DSs need to be in the end if it's a short ball, if we need to pass faster, if we need a high ball pass, if we need to pass right. Setters literally run the court, so they have a lot of pressure on them. They touch the ball all the time. They're constantly touching the ball. So they run the plays and inform everyone on what to do when to do it. They have to learn so many different sets, as you can see in this photo. So many different sets. They have the shoot, 31, 1, 2, so many. Defensive players also have to learn those, but for them, it's even on top of that, each hitter is very different. Each hitters may want it higher, lower, faster. Practice makes perfect. Setting is one of the most difficult positions learning, especially starting volleyball. There's so many techniques that could work for you, that can't work for you. Like, you just have to practice and figure out what's most comfortable for you. At first it's frustrating, but then it gets easier. It's always best to have confidence when setting, because when you go in with having confidence, things usually go your way. And thank you for listening. I hope my PowerPoint informs you on how to set a volleyball. A reminder to always keep your hands high, follow through, square up to your target, and communicate with your hitters.